Welcome back. It's no doubt Detroit is a city that is filled with a rich history and culture of its own, and they've tried to capture it in film, TV, even news, of course. Author Paul Vachon has managed to capture some of the city's key moments in his latest book, Detroit, an illustrated timeline. He joins us live to tell us more about this. As I look at this book now, first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
First thing I said to you, I said, this is timeline based, isn't it? Because I mean, you really can go year by year and see some of the things that really make our city great.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's so much more than, of course, can be put in one book because there's so many things happen. But when you see how they unfold over time, it gives a very interesting perspective.
Talk a little bit about why, talk about how it happened. I mean, you know, you've got to love history, obviously, and then you got to really love our city.
Yes.
And how did it all come together?
Well, I was approached by this publisher, Reedy Press. They're located in St. Louis, Missouri, several years ago, and they had done a timeline book similar to this on their hometown, St. Louis, and they wanted to do a similar story or a similar book on Detroit, and they asked me to do it. I had done writing on Detroit history prior to that. The original edition was a hardcover book, quite lengthy. After that was on the market for a while, they decided they wanted to do a more focused version, and so they came to me and asked me to do a second edition of the book.
So, like, I mean, something maybe people don't know. I mean, we're looking at great pictures here, but I mean, and because it is an illustrated version, you do get a photo or something related to the story that you tell. But what surprised you?
What surprised me is the fact that so many things always happen simultaneously. You can have a development, say, in the auto industry, and then political developments. You can have, unfortunately, in 1967, a racial-based insurrection, which was quite ugly. But there were other things that were going on at the same time, too. And in a city as large as Detroit, perhaps that's to be expected, but it's still surprising nonetheless when you see it all happening simultaneously.
What about our architecture, too, and some of the great buildings we have in our city?
Well, this edition has an appendix on Detroit architecture, which is new for this edition. And we have a very underappreciated architectural legacy in Detroit. Some of the greatest architects have practiced here, besides, of course, Albert Kahn. But you have Cass Gilbert, Daniel Burnham, Wirt Rowland. You have many, many others that their work is represented here in Detroit, and it's really astonishing the extent to which we have just beautiful, beautiful buildings. The Michigan Central train station, which is almost completed right now, the restoration of, that was designed by Warren and Wetmore. That also designed Grand Central in New York. So
wow, and you can see a lot of the similarities.
Absolutely, you can. Yes.
Yeah, I often see, even when you go to other cities, you can look at just certain buildings and go, boy, that reminds me of something at home in Detroit. And then you go back and do a little research and find that, you know, many of these builders and the people that design these buildings are very much connected.
Yes.
Listen, it's great seeing you. The book is available everywhere?
Yeah, it's available on Amazon, on all major bookstores, and independent bookstores here locally as well, too.
All right, great. Paul, it's great seeing you. Thank you so much. It is, I'm going to hold it up. It's fantastic and great, because every page is just a different year. You get all this great history.